Hello there everyone and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. We are going to do a high orbit goo grab. And I've been thinking on it quite a bit. We've had some good advice, some good thoughts. And the plan of the day is we are going to get aerodynamics. Now, some of you might think that seems a little bit odd of a choice for a goo return, but I have an idea, because we're not getting, don't forget, we're still only stuck with the Stay Putnik at this point. We don't have any other probe course. All right, here we go. So, there's good reason why I grabbed this. You see, I was browsing the Better Than Starting Man forum. Aha, here we are. And this design snuck across my desk, or across my desktop. It was a couple pages from the front, like 325, just I guess today, the last couple of days it got posted. And it's a really brilliant idea for a craft that is capable of making the Reentry without getting the next tier probe core. And I thought that was just one of the snazziest things I'd seen in a long time, so I figured, let's give it a shot. So what we need to do, we just need to do some tweaking, because it does have some things we need to deal with, like not having the goo clipping through the base of the heat shield. So what I had to do is, this is actually upside down from its normal orientation. That's the only way you could actually attach it to the top of the ship like this. So, and we do not want it mirrored at all. This is actually a very... Come on, stop it. And boom. So we just need to sneak that up a couple of ticks. There we go, that's getting close. I'm going to have to do a bit of balancing off camera. Actually, let me show you. Okay, so you see how it weighs 10.7 right now, right? So what we have is two identical thrusters, two identical decouplers, two identical tanks. And what we need to do is all the bits and bobs between this data gatherer and this right here. Oh, and we also actually need to upgrade the parachute, because we got the new next tier parachute from that. Yeah. I think... Whoa, that is humongous. Okay, maybe we won't be taking that with us. Oh, never mind. Well, hopefully that's not too cheaty with the clipping like that. Okay, I'll just jump it down a little lower. I guess we could go like that, couldn't we? That might work better, actually, because that will let us squeeze it in nice and close to the thing. Now then, what we are going to need here, almost guaranteed, I would bet good money that we're going to need some of these dragticles, but we're going to try and do it without them first. They're only to be used in the case of emergency. So, alright, so you see how, okay, so it weighs 10.9 right now, right? So, I've just got to note that down. I've been trying to track. Now, if I yank off this half right here, it now weighs 5.25. So, just grab my phone here. 10.9 minus 5.25 means, whoops, 10.9 minus 5.25, there we go, is 5.65. So the drop pod is slightly heavier. It currently weighs 5.65. Fortunately, we can trim some weight off of it. I actually have some extraneous hardware on there that isn't strictly necessary for the mission we're trying to run. I put it on there because of some balance. I'd forgotten to account for the weight of the heat shield earlier. Okay, so this half weighs 5.25, and we don't want to change it if we can avoid it. This side. So we have on here an extra... So 5.25, 10.5 is our goal. Or we have to bring the other half of it up a little. And I think that might be what's going to happen because all the rest of this is actually good stuff. We're going to grab a weather report on the way up just as a quick bonus bit of cash to cover the cost of this. So with 0.2, what is it for the thermometer? It's in here, 0.025. So minus 0.025. Yeah, I'm going to have to double check this numbers, but what we're going to have to do is likely add a little bit of mass to this other half. So give me a minute, I will do a bit of math and some calculations, and we'll get that center of mass, which by the way you can see right here is not bad, but slightly off the center right now. It should be centered right in that gap there. So give me a few minutes just to fine-tune the weight here, and I'll be right back. Welcome back. Here we are. The ship weighs 11.25 tons, and each half is exactly 6.25. So that means we are perfectly balanced, and we can now design this ship more or less like normal with a few minor quirks. We're going to create an extra set of maneuver... Whoops. Not an extra set of that. We're going to create 4 sets of maneuvering thrusters. Now I know for sure that this ship is not going to be as easy to manage as some of my ships in the past because these parts are being placed by hand without any mirroring to speak of. So because these two halves aren't mirrored, right? So now all I need to do is figure out how much thrust we're going to need to get this thing actually into orbit. Well, not even into orbit. It just needs to go. It needs to reach an altitude of 250K. So let's put one on there, one on there, and then these two will be, we'll just design our bottom stage now. Now again, we can't mirror this because, actually we can do a bit of mirroring. I take that back. We can mirror this because it's being mirrored across that axis right there. But the third one, that's not going to be quite enough for our purposes, I suspect. We've still got mass to play with? Yes, we do. Okay. See, we don't want this one mirrored because it'll mirror into the space where the other one is supposed to go. I wonder if we could fit a full ring on these. Let's try this on for size and see how close we get to our limit. Because whatever we do here, we need to mirror on this one right here, like so. And we are definitely overweight. Let's pull one off, let's pull two off. Okay, so it can handle exactly that much. Alright, well let's get rid of this right here. And let's take this one right here. Perfect. We'll get rid of this structure right here and we'll replace it with an exact mirrored copy once we get the rest of the, let's see, R8, 16L. What's the better one? Lighter. Larger rockets. You know what? We don't need, we're not a humongous rocket here. We are a mid-sized rocket at best. And so let's treat it as such. Okay. Let's not be silly. These two can be mirrored, which is good. All right, and a couple of support structures here. Turn the mirroring off because one right there. These just need to balance it. Copy that, support it right there. Copy this and rotate it twice on the vertical axis. There we go. One of the most oddly designed rockets I think I have ever seen fit to construct. Okay. Now we need to track down. Okay, so those are triggering right, and these two engines need to trigger together. That stack's okay. That is going to be the last. So it's this stack right here. So this one goes here, this one goes here. a separate stage for the decoupling process and for the parachute. Now, I'm going to say in advance, the only reason that I will revert this flight to launch is if this thing here turns turtle because of a failure of the physics engine. Because it should, I've loaded it pretty, actually, no, I can't test it. I'm pretty sure, you know what, no. How much do these weigh? 0.1. 0.1, that'll put us above this silly thing again. But if I put them on there alone, it'll be unbalanced. No, we can't do it. Let's just push these down as far as we can. All right, save this. Let's do a bit of work on our action groups. So we've got one thermometer set to 1. We've got one barometer set to 2. And we've got our second thermometer set to 3. We'll have to do each of these manually because they're mirrored. But that's okay, because we have one more stop to make before we actually launch this beast, other than lowering it down for stability. Get it right down to the bottom. All right, out of here, over to the contracts building. So what we need, pardon my cracked knuckles there, it was a bit silly of me. It's a nervous habit on occasion. See, we can do a weather survey. We've got everything we need to do a weather survey on the way up. And that's really all we need to take with us. We're not going to get to do the illuminator anytime soon, but we've got, you know, time, 99 days still to go or something. But we can certainly conduct a weather survey on the way up. We can grab the 2 bits of data while we're going through the middle atmosphere above 30 kilometers. Hey guys, and welcome back. Sorry for the abrupt change of scene here. I'm just pondering final design here, deciding against that particular aspect of the design. I've added some RCS fuel to this thing. As you can see, we've got 3 instead of 1. I've got this one shut down with an action group item at 9 to toggle it back on again, to make sure we have enough fuel in this uppermost stage to control it in orbit. But this stage, this middle stage, is going to be at a very bad place in its flight. And I mean, ideally, I'm thinking it might be nice to have both wings and... maybe we can get 4 wings on here along with the RCS. Would that be doable? Or are we starting to push our weight limit pretty hard here? I think we'll be okay. I know wings on the upper stage is not a great idea, but I think between that and the RCS we might actually be able to control this thing. I just need to make sure they're actually evenly balanced is all. I wish you could select multiples. Can't you? There's not any way to select multiple items in this version. I think they're working on that with their widgets or whatever they call them in Squad's next release, which isn't out yet, of course. Okay, this is an utter monstrosity, and I really don't know how well this is going to play out, but I know we do have some potential future mass balance problems that we can't really do much about. All we can do is make good use of our RCS and of time warping to stabilize spin if something terrible starts happening while we're at least up in space. Assuming this thing even makes it to space. I'm pretty sure it can make it to space, but we need to make it to high space. Oh god, the shimmy. Alright, 2/3, launching in 3, 2, 1, lift off. Okay, a little tilt, but that was to be expected. Our fins are easily capable of controlling it. So far, so good. We're only going to turn on the RCS if we actually need it. Good stuff. Just keep it on that vertical mark. Come on. Man, the shimmy is starting. Every shimmy makes it shimmy a little harder. That's okay. I think we're actually doing okay here. Just keep it within that 90 degree, or within that 0 degree marker right there. that says we are going straight up, nothing more, nothing less. This is, I'm not going to call it white knuckle, but definitely a hard ship to control. I can't take my eye off of the Nav Ball, so which makes me really glad I've got that altitude marker down there in the bottom left corner of the Nav Ball, so I can see what is going on. Okay, keep it steady. Keep it steady. Small movements, just keep them small. So far so good. 13 kilometers. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What happened? Oh, no. Did one of my... No. I'm not accepting that. I'm not accepting that because this thing was in the right place when I left off. Why did everything go completely screwy on us? Alright, staging check. Okay, that like that, that like that. Those two engines in them, those two, yeah, that engine and that engine there, that there. Let's see, that engine and that engine on that stage, and then everything else should be in the bottom. Why did it do that? Oh, it must have been when I added these two tanks. Okay. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I know I said I wasn't going to revert to launch, but that was just too stupid of an error to let it stand. So, yeah. There are days where I'm just going to have to do it. You know, I'm not a rocket scientist. If I was a rocket scientist, I would definitely be a little more willing to accept all of my failures, such as they were. But this is not one of those situations where that's even remotely necessary. Here we go. A little more throttle. There we go. Okay, just keep it on that mark right there. Little tilt here, little tilt there. It definitely has a bias towards one side in spite of my balancing efforts, which means that there is still what I would call a minor, basically some mass is distributed wrong on the ship, or I'm having a issue with the flight model in Kerbal Space Program, which is also a possibility because I gather it's not that realistic. That's okay. Let's see how we doing. Keeping her pretty vertical. Let's drop the engines just a bit more because we don't want to... I really don't want to waste fuel. Fuel is of a premium here. So as long as we keep her steady and vertical, that's going to be the critical aspect of this. Okay. Coming along quite nicely here. I think we are well under the mark of what we would call the terminal velocity, though I don't have it memorized as of yet. I've been working on it, but it's not an easy number to remember. Okay, here we go in 3, 2, 1. Okay, can we keep it steady with the winglets? Yeah, we can. We can. Of course, we're not speeding up, but come on. Okay. Little RCS is going to be necessary here. That's a good thing we put that on there. Okay. Are we gaining speed? Yes, we are. And we've just passed the 30 kilometer apoapsis, which is good. And we still have lots of juice left in the tanks for the continuing elevation gain. I just do not want to run out of RCS if I can avoid it. One of the reasons I'm draining the two bottom tanks first also is for balance. Because if I started removing juice from all three, the ship's balance would actually become off. As it is, as soon as we start using that upper RCS tank. Oh, here we go. 1, keep, 2, keep. That is the, that's part 1 right there. Okay, and our apoapsis is now in space. Good stuff. Okay. No, come on. I know we've been fighting this thing all the way up. We're about to lose the uppermost stage. We're going to kill the engines before staging here so that we don't wind up with any unexpected rotation. There we are. Let's keep it right there. Okay. I'll just throttle up slowly here. Alright, now. Whoa. Wow. Very, very unstable. My word. Okay. Wow, indeed. Okay, so we got some pretty serious stability problems here, but let's get that. Keep that data. Okay, and quick time warp. Let's get this thing back to vertical. Let's get this tank active. Oh crap. Where is the balance issue, I wonder? Okay, well, let's... As long as we keep this going up, we should be okay. Faster than we're rising. Because that's all we really need. Come on, no. No. Gosh. I did not expect this part of the ship to be the worst to control. My gosh. It really, I must have a balance problem on the upper stage still. Okay, well, we're going still. As long as we don't run out of RCS, which we are going to in just a minute, damn it. Okay. Okay, slow down. Come on, we can do it. No, we can't. Okay. I don't know if this is going to work, but we're going to try it anyways, so... We just need to... I know the time warping's a little cheaty, but... we might be able to do it with this... If we can keep it going 10 kilometers, we might be able to do it. Okay. It's at least predictable. I don't know where I screwed up, but I know this is taking advantage of game mechanical quirks, and that's it. That's all we're getting out of it. Whoa, 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 whoa. That was almost a disaster. Expose the goo in high space. And keep the data. Guys, this either will or will not survive the trip down. There's really no halfway point. So all I can do is save the last of the gas to try and give myself a little bit of rotation. Wow. Okay, well, I have no idea what's going to happen on reentry here. All we can do is hope for the best on this beast right here. In fact, let's recharge the beast. Oh, there's no... Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, I may have made a terrible mistake. There's no probe core on the... there's no core here. So I'm going to have to do some real fast thinking here. Those batteries are useless then. So deploy you at 5,000, minimum pressure. And we'll just hope that it doesn't do anything stupid on its way down. I'm going to actually quick save so that I may need to do so. I might want to test out some situations. In fact, let's do a 4 reentry testing. This may have been far more of a poor design than I thought, but okay. Well, we're about to hit the... We've just hit the atmosphere. Now let's see. There's not much we can do. Once we detach this stage, we are going to lose it. But let's see how much this survives. Actually, we might be able to just leave this. Depends on how much it starts tumbling here. Okay, we got to detach. Shoot! I forgot to deploy the parachute before, and it just destroyed anyways. Shoot. Alright, let's reload that. Alt F9 for reentry testing. I'm sure this thing can do it. I just don't know what I need to do. I guess we need to pre-deploy this parachute. It's deployed, so we'll see what happens. And actually, we can adjust it to be the minimum pressure to be higher so that it won't deploy too early. Okay. Okay. Well, this is either going to go terribly poorly or terribly well, but either way, we are just going to have to let this piece go, aren't we? I don't see any way around it. And somebody wants to talk to me. Here we go. All right, we got to get this thing out of here now. And hope that it... Oh, geez. Well, the heat shield I think is doing what it's supposed to do. The only question I have is whether or not the parachute will do what it's supposed to do. Is it going to do what it's supposed to do? Is it going to do what it's supposed to do? It's supposed to deploy at 5,000, which should be any second now. It worked! Oh my god, it worked! I think it worked, guys. So all I had to do was actually detach the thing with the parachute pre-deployed and everything was okay. I also learned something valuable about the way parachute deployment works. You know what? It was a learning experience. It's one worth leaving intact. As we bring this thing back to the ground. Very slowly. This thing's so light with such a heavy... such a big parachute. It's going to take bloody forever to get to the ground, isn't it? But that's okay, because it's going to get down fully intact. Yeah, well, I broke my rule. I'm sorry, guys. I'm, Some days you just got to accept that for missions to succeed, you need to learn the hard way. So we should have everything we need from both the weather scans and I think 100 science, if I read those right. Is it 50 or 100 science? I forgot the high health. I forgot the high space temperature scan, didn't I? I got so distracted by everything else. Oh well, a piece of science for the future, I think. Anyhow, wow. This really is, we're at ×4 warp and we're still just taking bloody forever to get to the ground. How far away from Kerbal from the Space Center are we anyways? It's over here. Oh, wow, we wound up going retrograde after all was said and done. Okay, I may cut this. In fact, I will cut this. I'll bring you guys back in when we're about to hit the ground. Alrighty, we are coming down. Just a second. Oh, that was a hard flight. That was one of the hardest ships to fly I think I have ever encountered. And we're home. Recover vessel. Complete with its science, its contract completing tech, and hopefully enough to get at least one more technology out of this business. Because the next technology, the ideal tech, would be manned flight. So temperature scan from upper, yeah, that's the 100 science. And that's a contract done as well. Parts, recovered a few parts of reasonable value. Well, 3,000 is 3,000. I'm a little broke though. But you know what? That pretty much did the trick. So with that, we have 131 science, which is enough to get one more tech. And I think it will be the command pod because we can get a guy into orbit. So we can get the contract for putting a guy into orbit. Kerbal into orbit. Accepted. Yeah. So we can put a Kerbal into orbit. And in flight over Kerbin. That's actually 14,000 just for testing something at low altitude, high speed. Wow. Okay, well we'll taste. Oh, that's a radio mount. Okay, we'll test that on a future. We'll discuss that in the future. So next episode, we're either going to figure out how to get enough either put a Kerbal into orbit or figure out how to get enough funds to put a Kerbal into orbit, because we are just running a little low right now. But thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.